My official prediction for Tony Ferguson versus the Leech. Guys, I'm taking Tony, but there's a lot of questions here. Historically speaking, we see boxers do this a lot more than we see MMA guys, but it's just the switching of camps. That's the only thing I'm referring to. When you switch teams or you switch camps, thinking somebody else has the answer. Boxer loses a fight, he'll never blame himself. I mean, Wilder fired a guy in the locker room. That's their business, that's their thing, but it's a lack of acceptance of responsibility. If you lose a match and it's anyone's fault but yours, you're probably not an accountable person. Probably. Very rare time. Matter of fact, I can't think of an exception off the top of my head where a coach went out there and screwed somebody. I haven't followed sports my whole life. Set that aside. I bring that example because we have seen it a number of times. And when you go find somebody else, the next performance is usually weird. And that's the word I'm going to use because it's not bad. It's different. You're trying to do something else. And now the audience is sitting there watching. And the reality is no matter what of a good athlete you are or what a good fighter you are, when you have a training camp that in this case, it was about 4 months. So let's call it 4 months. You're not going to pick up something new. If you go out there and think that you did and you're going to go and display that with no experience, you did it in the practice room, but you want to pay homage to your new coaches. You want to show them that you listen. You want to show them that they matter. And that does happen. From a psychological standpoint, you really want to listen to your coaches. You really want to be a sponge. You really want to go out and show those things. But when you try to do it, you find out that you are not a fighter now with 20 years experience. When you bring something in that you've never done before, it might as well be your first night. It might as well be your first. If you're going to go and do things that you haven't done on any other night, why are we talking about all of the experience? It doesn't make a bit of difference if that's not what you're going to use. Now, adversely, an athlete, and we're talking fighters in this case, but you could be talking LeBron, you could be talking about Serena, the moves that they will use in competition, they first were exposed to 10 years ago. 10 years ago, or even in their childhood, and they've perfected it and they've got it to this point, right? Mike Tyson only had a couple of combinations. Just by example, the greats only have a couple of swings. But it's all they need. And I guarantee every time Tyson went into training camp or every time he worked with a new Mick guy, they showed him different things. I've got the answers. You need to do more of this. I guarantee. And he showed them respect and he did it in the practice room. And he probably even thought he was going to do it in competition. But when the house is on fire, you will go back to what you know. And when you're out there fighting with yourself, trying to force yourself not to do what you know, but to do what you have now learned, things just get weird. And I'm just saying there's a question mark around Tony. Look, guys, I was teammates with Tony. I've seen 2 workouts in my whole life that I still remember, and I remember it because I was in awe of how difficult they were. And I had to have a conversation with myself of if that's what it takes to be great, I'm going to have to find something else to do. And I've seen a number of great workouts, guys. Of course I have. Same as you, but they inspired me. They made me work harder. They showed me, oh, I got to do that. Oh, after practice, I got to hit the pull-up bar 20. I mean, whatever it is you steal, you grab and go, I'm going to be like that guy. Watch Gilbert Melendez one time train. I watched Tony Ferguson one time train. I said, if that's what it takes, my body and mind can't hold up. Now, I'm going back on that story to 2014. I was preparing to fight Vanderlei Silva, which ended up being preparing to fight Vitor Belfort, which ended up being Chael versus USADA. Chael came up short for a time frame. Then I lost touch with Tony's training. I go in, right, all of a sudden I'm sitting in the principal's office wearing a dunce cap. I'm not in the gym so much anymore because I wasn't allowed. I lost touch with his training. But I never lose touch with Tony. Talked to Tony in 2017. Talked to Tony in 2019. Talked to Tony in 2020. And somewhere along the way, Tony began telling you, the audience, but also Chael privately, I don't have a coach. I have a team, but it's my team. I'm in charge of it. I'm bringing up a whole crop of ninjas. And I thought it was marketing. Thought it was marketing for his gyms. Thought it was marketing for his business. I thought he was doing a pretty good job with it, quite frankly. Guys, He was telling you the truth. It has been a period of time. I mean, I got to go back to 2014 where I can actually prove, because I saw it with my own eyes, but somewhere between 2014 and now, Tony doesn't have a coach. That doesn't work. All the greats have a coach. Mayweather has a coach. McGregor has a coach. Simone Biles has a coach. Serena Williams has a coach. Tiger Woods has a coach. I mean, go through it. None of them get so good that they're in charge. None of them. They all have somebody that will call the shots. Too hard to stay accountable. Not to mention, you don't know enough. No matter how good you are, once you become a coach, it's a whole nother level. You start coaching something for 1 month, you are going to understand it better than you did while you did. You're going to become better. Some of the things you were just moving, you're just making a reaction. What you can really break it down, how I pulled the elbow, how I stepped, what reaction I got from him. It's one of these things. You got to have a coach, and Tony hasn't had one, so now he does. And not only does he have a coach and a team, he's got great coaches, he's got a great team. He's got Greg Jackson, just by example. He's got Coach Winklejohn, and Coach Wink never gets enough credit. That's a whole nother story. And then he's got the team. He's got that whole crew out there in Albuquerque. Now that's going to sound like a positive, isn't it, guys? That is a positive. I agree. But in 4 months, if you start doing something new and you want to perfect it, some of it's because you want to get better, and the end of the piece of that pie is you want to show respect to the people that are helping you. You want to do what they say. You want to do it their way. You want to let them know that you're listening, you pay attention, and you value it. But along that process, you will get away from what got you here in the first place. You will forget your double pump to a cross. By example, you will fit your elbow control to a pass. You're going to change it for an inside tie. I'm getting technical on the terms, but these are the things that happen. If Tony ever gets away, or any other athlete gets away from what it is that they once did, thinking I've already got it. And here's a mistake. You'll hear this all the time, right? And I've seen this from my own community of wrestlers. I don't need to work on the wrestling. I've already got the wrestling. You ain't got a goddamn thing if you don't sharpen it every day. I don't care how many Hodge trophies you won. If you're not in there doing it each day, you're losing and you're regressing. And you'll get away with it for a period of time, and then it will catch you. One morning, you will wake up, and it will be gone. And you'll be struggling to get it back. And then you'll be mad at yourself. Why did I ever let that go in the first place? All I had to do was sharpen it. I didn't have to build on it. I didn't have to perfect it. I just had to sharpen it. I could have done that in 15 minutes a day, but you didn't do those 15 minutes, and now you've lost it. And I say there's a question mark around Tony. I think he's going to go out there and fight differently. I think Tony's good enough to win. I'm taking Tony. I think there's a possible scenario where Tony wins all 3 rounds. I'm taking Tony, but I'm still adding that question mark. I'm curious. To some degree of what I just said, I went a little extreme on both sides. I'm somewhere in the middle, though, guys. He is going to come out there. He's going to do something different than we've ever seen him do before. His stance, just by example, when this fight starts, is going to look different. Now, if he takes a couple of shots down, he's going to go and do his best to return to what it is that he knows. To return to what it is that got him here. He's going to do his best to do that. But if he hasn't sharpened that and he's pushed that away for 4 months, that drawer is going to be empty. And it's going to turn into a mess. And I'm interested in that. The question, I'm interested in that. I'm interested in what Tony is going to do different. I'm interested in if his conditioning or if his positioning looks different. I do believe in the coaches he has. I do believe in the team, and I do believe that he made the right decision. 4 months isn't a ton of time. And when you're dealing with a guy named the Leech, okay, there's no disguises in what he wants to do. The Leech wants to get a hold of you. The Leech wants to drag you down, but he can also do it on the feet. I like the clinch work of the Leech. I think that his nickname and his moniker is a little bit misadvertising because he's got a pretty powerful right hand. I just don't worry about Tony Ferguson dealing with shots. Aside from the one that Michael Chandler fed him, Tony's dealt with every shot that he's ever had. I'm taking Tony Ferguson. But I think as you watch this fight, if you think about this legacy or this is contendership, if you think about it in that regard, I feel like you're missing the story. I feel like you're going to miss a pretty good time. I feel like you're going to miss what's most interesting, which is real simple. What tools of Tony's past has he kept sharp? Has he valued? They're still in the drawer. And what new additions are going to be on display?